Good morning, everyone. Now that I've got all my morning chores done, I'm going to make a hydroponic bucket today. I'm going to dig up a watermelon plant that's been growing. It's, good size, but we're going to put that in a hydroponic bucket in a little different method. We're going to use a fish aerator bubbler instead of a pump. And that'll work the same way. And then we'll make an update video in a couple of weeks to see how the progress is. So in this pot, I have Jubilee watermelons. I have 4 of them. I'm going to select 1 or 2 to use for hydroponics. I'm just going to dig one out and dig up all the roots as possible. I've selected my watermelon plant. For this project, you're going to need a plant, a small pot, a bucket with a lid, an aerator, and I use General Hydroponics Maxi Grow. You're also going to need 4 or 5 gallons of water and a utility knife to cut a hole in the center. We're just going to use this lid that I've used before, but we're going to cut a hole in the center to fit this pot. You also need coconut fiber, or you can use rock wool or pebbles or clay stone or anything to fill this up that's not dirt. Now I'm just carefully cutting around with a utility knife to make my hole. So I've cut my hole to fit the pot. It's a nice tight fit. I can lift the bucket so it won't fall down in the bucket, it won't. And then we'll be right back. So now you're going to want to fill the bucket with water. And when this is in the pot, you want the water to come up to here on this pot as it sits in the water. That way the plant is down in the water and the roots can get the nutrients. Now with this one, the water goes through a pump and then comes back out through and back into the bucket. So it just keeps getting recycled back into the bucket. For this bucket, we're going to use a fish aerator because plants do need oxygen. So we're going to use this fish aerator, and that's going to bubble in the bucket, and it's going to create oxygen and movement in the water so it doesn't go stagnant, and it'll give oxygen to your plant. Quick side note on this tomato plant, it's starting to flower. Now I'm going to fill this bucket with water, and I'll be right back. Alright, now I filled the bucket with water. You can see inside the pot there's water inside it. There's about 1 inch of water, which is good. I'm going to set this right next to the shelf because I'm going to have the watermelon grow up onto the shelf and grow the watermelon right there on the shelf. I'm going to take this cocoa coir and we're going to dip it in the bucket and get it all wet. Carefully going to take this plant and we're going to wrap it in this nice wet. I'm going to stuff it down in the make sure it's nice and stood right up in there. And as you can see, it looks pretty nice. Now you just take your bubbler and you stick it down in this hole and you plug it in. I'm going to take this aerator stone, I'm going to put it on the pipe, and drop it down in the bucket. Get this cord up through the hole. The aerator itself will stir in the mixture for you. And we'll plug it into the unit. And then we'll plug this into the electricity. Get this plugged in. And it's bubbling down in there. And then it's down in the water. And we'll come back. And that's basically it. You just keep it bubbling. And wait. And that will get bigger. We'll come back in 10-12 days and see how much bigger that watermelon got. Here's a before, and in 10 days we'll come back. Well, that's about it for hydroponics. That's a deep cycle bucket, I guess they call it. I just call it backyard hydroponics. But growing in water, and it works great as long as the water's moving somehow, either a pump or an aerator. It should work good. You can do the crack key method, which I don't practice. It's just a bucket of water with nutrients, and there's no airflow, there's no water flow or anything, but I haven't tried that kind yet. Maybe we'll try that. You all have a great day, and until the next video, see you later.